Ozonics Killerwinds podcast back again. We got the nuke. We got me. I'm doing like a shooting motion.
Finger guns.
Let's do this.
Yep. Let's roll. It feels weird. It feels like we haven't been in this studio for a really long time, but in all reality,
No, I think it has been quite a little bit of time. Think about it. When was the last time we sat down here and did a podcast? It wasn't last week. It wasn't the week before.
True. Yeah.
And then before that, we were at Harrisburg.
Yeah, man. Dang, dude. Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been like it's March.
I think we had one in between the shows. One of the
Harrisburg
shows.
and Iowa that was here in studio.
Yeah.
But besides that, that was one where we were talking about. I don't know what we were talking about. We're talking about what we were going to be doing, getting ready. What we were thinking about. Oh no, that was we were talking about where you were getting hangry. No, that was at Dixie. That's the thing. That's what we're forgetting about. We haven't done the one in the studio, I think, since like January, because we went to Harrisburg. We had a couple weeks at Harrisburg. We had one with Alec. We had one with Ben. No. Did we have one with Ben? Yeah. Then we went to Dixie. Then we got back from Dixie, and then we went to Iowa.
Yeah.
We had 2 weeks of Iowa. Now here we are. So I seriously think it's been since like January.
It's
been a while.
It's crazy how it all just meshes together.
What it basically boils down to is it's been a whirlwind, and this is what happens every year.
Every show season, man.
And even the weather has been a bit of a whirlwind. Like, every year I hope that we go out on the road and we don't get stuck, and or family and friends at home don't get blown up with snow where all of a sudden we're 800 miles away and there's 2 feet of snow to try to move. Yeah. We got lucky this year.
Yeah.
But then we got back from Iowa and we just got pounded.
Yeah,
but now it's almost all gone again.
Yeah, now it's warming up.
Yep.
But yeah, no, like Cole's saying, it has been an absolute whirlwind. It's been a kind of a long road here, but we are seeing the light now.
Yeah, getting towards the end of it now.
Yeah, pretty much right after this next show, or at the end of this week when you guys are listening to this, we'll be in Wisconsin, and that's it for the year.
Yeah, we got Wisconsin Dells. So this comes out on Monday. We'll be at Wisconsin. We'll be setting up on Wednesday, Thursday, depending on weather, and then we either Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's at the Kalahari Resort.
And I think that technically where it is the convention center, but it's all connected to the Kalahari.
Yeah, and like this big water park that they have.
Yeah.
So if you aren't familiar with Wisconsin Dells, it's kind of laid out like, south to north as the interstate kind of comes around.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you come in on the south end of town, the Kalahari is kind of one of the first places. And then you kind of go through the newer southern part, and then you go through the big water park section. And then on the north end, what river is that? Not the Wisconsin River, is it?
I think it might be, actually.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong.
There's a big river that runs through Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah.
And then on that part of town is the old, I would say old, it's like the original Wisconsin Dells and the downtown. And
yeah, it's a cool little area.
There's like a lot of cool shops and
Yeah.
different things that happen. And then you kind of get on the north end of town and out into the trees again,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so we'll be at Wisconsin Dells. That's a heck of a show. It's always really fun every show feels a little different. And Wisconsin is really fun because, the first one, when you go to Harrisburg, we feel like we've got so much in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And you see kind of people at Harrisburg that you don't see the rest of the way. And then when we're in Wisconsin, we see people that we don't see the rest of the way. And it's a bittersweet feeling because it's exciting to know that we're on the brink of turkey hunting. It's kind of a little bummer to know that the shows are over. It's a little excitement to know the shows are over. It's kind of a big whirlwind.
Yeah, it is. It's a very weird feeling, but yeah, no, that's the one thing about Wisconsin. I always feel like the weather's really turning at this last show, and
we've seen it all different ways.
Oh man,
we've gone there and had it where we've gotten absolutely blown up with snow. We've gone there where it's been sunny and perfect. We've gone there. Was it last year, the year before? We just got absolutely I think
it was the year before.
Pissed on with rain, trying to set up and tear down, and they won't let you drive in respectfully because they have like carpet and stuff. So you're having to bring it in from outside, and then it was rainy and cold. And
and I remember the one time in Wisconsin. It was one of my first years, but we stayed at this place that the driveway was super steep down to it, and we ended up having to park the van
up on
top because we were like, we don't know if we're going to be able to get out of here.
Didn't you bring the heavy Chev that year and met us there?
I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you did.
I definitely
because that's when Zip and the boys came.
Yeah. That must have been my first year.
I'll tell you what. I really liked that place we stayed at. It was this like little cabin, and it was down by this lake.
Sweet.
This little pond, I guess.
Yeah.
Place we're staying at this year, I think it's got
Yeah,
a
I'm
pretty cool
excited
feel.
for it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. Yeah. And it's funny. We're not. This isn't what we were gonna talk about today, but
We're just riffing right now.
yeah, I had never spent a ton of time in Wisconsin before going to consumer shows, working at Ozonics.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I've been to Wisconsin here and there, like before in other jobs, I've been to shows in Wisconsin, but like never really spent that much time there.
Yeah.
But the Wisconsin Open Season Sports Expo used to just be called the Wisconsin Deer and Turkey Expo, and it used to be in Madison.
Yeah.
And then we've done summer, spring shows in different layers, like Deer Fest they have in Wisconsin. There's and there's some other ones, and then like now it's in Wisconsin Dells. But the one thing, and I told you this the other day, I can see why you enjoy being from Wisconsin and why you're proud of it. It's a different place.
Yeah.
There's a different feel and a different culture to Wisconsin compared to Iowa.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong or jump in here, but I think that Wisconsin people are friendlier than Iowa people.
Yeah.
When you go to restaurants, when you're just out in public, there's just something about it.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you look at the hunting of Iowa, okay, or I don't know how to say this. When you go to Texas, it's so funny because they're saying everything's bigger in Texas. And I remember some of the first times I went to Texas on videoed hunts and things like that. And I walked in, I remember we were in the small town, we walked into a grocery store. You walk in a grocery store and it's like, oh, it's a grocery store. And then over on the left, they had a full camo section. You could buy rifles.
Yeah.
They had ammo. They had turkey calls. I'm like, is this a grocery store? And they're like, this is Texas, man. This is the way it is.
Yeah.
And it is how it is.
Yeah.
And so when you think about that, but then you kind of think about Iowa and like the awesome hunting that there is here, it's almost like if Iowa and Texas had a baby, it would be Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know, because like the friendliness of Wisconsin is, I feel like, kind of unbeatable.
Yeah.
And then it's like it has that kind of like hunting feel. Like you could walk into a supper club, you can walk into just any bar, and you're gonna see Johnny's 12-point buck from last year above the fireplace, and they're gonna have a chalkboard where they're gonna be playing some dice game where you can put $1 and you may win half the pot, and it's worth $600, and nobody's won in 3 weeks, and you know there's all these little things, and it's just like these nuances of Wisconsin that are just so what it is.
Yeah.
And I think it really, for me, it like comes together in just friendliness, you know, this like outdoor lifestyle.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, like whether it's hunting and fishing. I mean, I remember one year we went to it was the first year I think we were in Wisconsin Dells. A couple of us were like, we need haircuts.
Yeah, I was there for that one.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need haircuts.
I think I have pictures of that.
Yeah, so we like end up at this barber shop.
Yeah.
And we get these haircuts, and the guy, he kind of had like, yeah, you want 1, 2, or 4, you know, like it was like, you know, he had like, oh, you just pointed the one you want.
Huge buck on the wall.
Yeah. And like there was guys that walked in. He had a little thing off the side, cup of coffee. They had a popcorn machine. Guy walked in, and the guy's like, hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Tom, what's up? You know, I was fishing this morning. Oh, geez. Wallies aren't biting yet. It's just water's too cold. It's too cold. You know, get below the dam, it's a little better, but you know, just, you know.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
yeah.
Hey, so how was Sally last weekend? You guys end up over there? Oh yeah, we had a good time. We had it's like,
that's how it is.
It's just like it's like just bizarre.
That's how it is everywhere. I mean, I worked at a car dealership where I grew up, and every single morning there was the same 4 or 5 older gentlemen that would come in. They'd have a cup of coffee, sit there, talk a little shop, and then go on with their day. Same thing at the local grocery store. They had a nice little, hot food area, and it was the same thing. There was just always people just sitting there hanging out, talking, and
it's not like that doesn't happen in Iowa, because there's local grain elevators and hardware stores and coffee shops and Casey's and places where you see the normal crowd of farmers that meet at the cafe and they kind of talk shop or another word that starts with an S 7 days a week.
Well,
but it's like they do that in Wisconsin, but it's not as much about farming. It's about hunting and fishing and being outside and the Green Bay Packers and family and friends. And it's just like, it's just different.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah. Where I really noticed it was again, really early in my time at Ozonics. And we were doing some video stuff up at Jeff's place, and Scott and Buddy were up there. And we ended up going to a Ducks Unlimited banquet that was just down the road.
Oh,
and
geez.
it was just at this little bar or whatever, and it was just packed shoulder to shoulder. And it's Wisconsin, so everybody's got beer and everybody's drinking beer and stuff. And it was out of a keg, so it was just like a cup of beer. And I remember there was just this really big burly guy, and Scott was kind of backing up, and he bumped into him, and he spilled the beer. And Scott's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry." And the guy was super cool about it, super nice. And we got back in the truck when we were leaving, and Scott's like, "Man, I thought I was about to get decked or something." But he was just the nicest guy ever. He's like, "What is this place?" He's like, "Everybody is just so nice and so kind." And at the time, it was like all that was just kind of normal to me. I mean, obviously there's going to be stuff that happens and stuff, but for the most part, like, everybody is very nice up there, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, I've ran Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, Minnesota a bunch of times. And there was something that I remember hearing. I've heard every time I run that marathon, while you're running the marathon, you're talking to people, and there's this saying that people say, and they say, "Oh man, just everybody here's so Minnesota nice."
Yeah.
Minnesota nice. And I feel that is more applicable to Wisconsin.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what it would be if it's just Wisconsin nice, but they're just, I mean, and just like the supper clubs, like, I didn't kind of really realize it, but the town that I grew up in, Belmont, there was a restaurant called Cattleman's, and that was kind of the equivalent to a Wisconsin supper club. You walked in and you could go up to the bar while you were maybe waiting for your table. They had a salad bar.
Yeah.
And then, you would talk to people, then you would go sit, they bring out bread and they'd have prime rib on Saturdays, and guys would, couples would get there early so they could get the really, really prime raw or medium rare cuts of the middle.
Yeah.
If you showed up late, you knew you were just going to get an end piece, or maybe you wouldn't get any at all.
Yeah.
And there was karaoke and it was like kind of the equivalent of a supper club. And when we first started going to Wisconsin, it felt a lot like that. There was a couple of places we went to that were super small, super packed. Nobody minded the wait. People just stood up at the bar, and it was a third generation restaurant of the dad owned it and his kids worked there, and now the grandkids were waiting tables and bussing things. And it's just like, that's Wisconsin. Yeah. And when you go to a restaurant, the gal calls you hon or sweetie, or she just kind of touches you on the shoulder, on the elbow, and she's probably between 55 and 74. And she just she looks like she could just knock the biggest guy out in the bar, but then also just give you a kiss on the cheek. It's just like this.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just, and there's something about it that it's like intoxicating.
Yeah,
like, and again, I'm not trying to name drop this. It just kind of came up in this conversation. Travis and Travis and the Kelsey brothers.
Oh yeah.
There's a micro clip on there where one of the brothers,
I've seen that.
He I don't know what he was in Wisconsin for.
I can't remember,
but he goes, started out in the morning with 7 beers by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then I had 3 Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
With 2 pork chops on a stick in the glass.
Yeah.
Then I had 2 dozen wings for lunch. Then
cheese curds.
And then for supper I had a 24-ounce prime cut, prime rib, and then like 2 baked potatoes, 3 trips to the salad bar, another 3 old fashions, 5 more beers after that. Then we went to somebody's house that had a bar in his garage, and all this stuff, and it's like, and we rolled dice, and I won $400. And it's just like, that's Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing, is like games at the bar, rolling dice, and
it's funny because I had never experienced that. Mm-hmm. And I remember like asking, because I saw the thing on the board and I was just like, what's this about? And there's all these different versions, and they're like, oh yeah, so you pay $1 and then you roll and then you maybe win, maybe don't.
Shake a day.
Yeah, all these things. And so then I remember coming back to Iowa, and I we were somewhere, and I'm like, why don't they have these here? But there's like a law
it's illegal.
about some sort of gambling law that in the state of Wisconsin, you can do this.
Yeah.
You see a lot of Wisconsin places, they'll have like maybe some sort of slot machine sitting there too.
Pull tabs in every single bar.
Pull tabs is a big thing.
Yeah.
And so, and it's interesting. Like Ozonics has a partner that we work with called Breaking Point TV.
Yep.
They're a lot of the guys are from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, a majority of them are from Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's funny because they were at the Iowa Deer Classic, and we see them there, and they have a big thing where they do all these pull tabs.
Yeah.
And you can see that that people are doing it.
Oh yeah.
But that hits differently at the Wisconsin show.
For sure. And it's really funny too that you mentioned them, because at the Wisconsin show, right where their booth is kind of next to the hallway. So like when you go and run to take a bathroom break or something, you come back, there is always just a pile of people around their booth.
Oh, pile.
Constantly.
A pile.
Yeah.
An absolute pile.
Yeah.
So but it's just like, that's the thing is like, if you've never spent much time in Wisconsin, you kind of walk by Breaking Point at the show, be like, oh, cool, pull tabs. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then if you're from Wisconsin, you spent what time in Wisconsin,
makes sense.
It makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I'm a diehard Vikings fan.
Yeah.
But having spent time in Wisconsin now, it makes me understand, appreciate, and respect like the passion that people have for Green Bay the Green Bay Packers
around it.
The culture. And when you watch it on Sunday, you see a bunch of guys wearing blaze orange
Yeah,
in
exactly.
mid-November, because they're probably going to, leave the game and go sit out in the stand, or they came in after they went out for the morning, or whatever,
Or
it's
that's just the only warm clothes that they got.
that's what they got.
It's funny too. Like you look back at like games like in the early 2000s and the 90s, Lambeau, the entire thing was just camo and blaze orange. The entire thing. It was the coolest thing ever. Now it's kind of changed a little bit. Me and my dad talk about that all the time, but it's funny. But you made a comment about how there's like weird things, and I don't mean to keep going on, but there's two things that came to mind when you were saying that. So there's this one bar that's kind of pretty close to my hometown, and they have they have peanuts, a huge jar of peanuts that you can eat.
Yeah.
And if you find a peanut with 3 nuts in it, you get a free drink.
Jeez, of course.
Yeah, so you turn it in, you get a free drink. And then another thing too is like around here, like I've noticed this is kind of like a big, and maybe this is just for, my town where I grew up, but there's like different fundraisers for all the schools. Like we've had people come in here asking, hey, do you want to buy a ticket for cookie dough or
I'm selling pies. I'm selling
selling pies,
popcorn,
selling this. Our fundraisers growing up, it was always some random Saturday from 12 to 5 at one of the local bars, meat raffle.
Oh, really?
That would be the fundraiser. So you'd go in there and get the meat that you want, and they'd be selling steaks and hot dogs and all this stuff. But it's
interesting.
I've told that to some buddies like working at Minnesota. I tell them, they're like, oh, a meat raffle? Like they just couldn't believe it. And it's like completely normal.
Yeah, that's so wild.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this on the podcast before, but when we look at like Harrisburg and then this year Dixie, Iowa, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
In Harrisburg, you'll see a guy here and there walking around with like a normal 12-ounce beer.
Yeah, yeah.
In a koozie. Maybe not in a koozie, but just like a normal 12-ounce beer. And at the Dixie Deer Classic, it was kind of like you didn't really see that.
Yeah, no.
In Iowa, the Iowa Deer Classic, their big thing is, how big are they? 24 ounces?
Yeah, 24 ounces, I think.
The big, tall cans.
Yeah, big.
With the big, tall koozies.
Yeah.
When you go to Wisconsin, it's not one beer, it's a bucket of beers.
Yeah, they sell buckets of beer.
They sell buckets of beer. And Bloody Marys.
Yeah, and it'll literally be the show will open, the first people you see walk by, there's a good chance that they got a bucket of beer.
Oh my God. They got a bucket of beer, or they got a Bloody Mary with a piece of celery, maybe a piece of bacon sticking out of it,
a beef stick on it,
a bunch of olives, this stuff. It's just so funny. I guess this isn't where we were going to go at all with this, but this is where we are.
Yeah.
I feel like that if there was another state if you said, hey, you can't live in Iowa, you got to move somewhere else, where would you move? I'd probably move to Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's a great place to be.
I'd probably move somewhere in Wisconsin off the Mississippi.
Yeah.
I mean, really kind of like the country that you're in, somewhere along there. It's just all that beautiful bluff country. And there's a name for that. They call it the
Driftless region?
Yeah, that whole Driftless region, and how glaciers that shaped, all of Iowa and a lot of the Midwest, for whatever reason, there was this bizarre gap.
Yeah.
And it just missed it.
Yeah.
And you see how the glaciers just didn't grind it down.
Yeah.
And if you go out of like Rochester and if you drive like you're going to go into the valley off of Rochester, if you're going towards Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wabasha, and then that'll take you into La Crosse.
Yeah, if you go, sorry, I don't know the places.
Yeah.
You come out of Rochester and you're going east and you hit the Mississippi, all of a sudden it's just like, oh, we're in flat country.
Yeah.
And then you look up and there's a sign that says 8% grade next 3 miles.
Yeah.
And you go straight down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, okay, where am I?
Yeah.
Where am I? And you're seeing rock outcroppings, and then you drive basically from there to Sparta, Wisconsin.
Yeah,
it's just this place where you just can imagine buffalo running and people standing on top of rocks, watching over them and making a move, and it's like this like bizarre place.
Yeah, along the river there is really beautiful. So I'm from Prescott, Wisconsin, which is where the Mississippi River hits the Wisconsin border. That's right where Prescott is. It's literally the western. When you look at Wisconsin, there's kind of like a western tip, and then it kind of comes down and moves kind of southeast and then goes straight south. So I'm right at that tip, and it's kind of cool because that's right on the north side of like the true Driftless region. So it's like Pepin County, Buffalo County, all those really kind of iconic names. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm right at the north side of that, but where we start, where Prescott is where Highway 35 starts.
Okay.
And 35 they call it the Great River Road. It's just a road that goes right along the river. Basically, you can take it from Prescott all the way down to La Crosse and farther. And I'll tell you, if you guys are ever in the area, it's literally the most beautiful drive you'll ever take.
Wow, can you imagine it
in the fall?
Yeah, peak color in mid-October.
You go by Lake Pepin and all that good stuff, and it's a treat. It's really cool to have that kind of right there. You know?
That's awesome.
So, but anyways,
no, I mean it's Wisconsin is a really cool place. I think it's undervalued. It's kind of underestimated.
Yeah.
And I think from the outside looking in, it kind of gets this connotation of like Green Bay Packer fans and and drinking and partying and things like that. But there's so much more to it than that.
No, yeah.
If there was like one word, I would say it's a state, but it's really like a community.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt.
Like there's a way stronger sense of community, I feel like, in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You feel that sense of community when you walk around the Iowa Deer Classic.
Yeah, definitely.
You feel all these like-minded people that have this passion for whitetails. Mm-hmm. You feel that sense of community.
Yeah.
But when you leave the Iowa Deer Classic, we all kind of go back to where we're from, and that sense of community kind of falls off. There's much more of a sense of like a farming community in Iowa, right?
Yeah.
Like the agriculture, obviously.
Yeah.
But in Wisconsin, I feel like in all the parts that I've been in, there's this sense of community based around family, friends, having a good time, hunting, fishing. It's just really something. The Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. The Packer thing is the big thing. It's crazy.
It's just really interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And that's honestly, I had to make a really tough decision to move down here because I loved it in Wisconsin so much. Mm-hmm. I mean, I loved being in Wisconsin, close family, friends, and just being in Wisconsin in general. But like this, like where I'm at now is just so perfect because it's 2.5 hours and I'm home. You know, so it's good because I can kind of still scratch my itch up there and come back down here, and it's a really good situation. I love it.
Well, and it's interesting too because now that I've known you now, this is what, like going on your 4th year working at Arizona. Yeah. It's so crazy. It's been that long.
I know.
But, looking from when you started and where you're at now, like professionally, personally, however you want to say it, I feel like you found a better fit for yourself in like where you live now in Britt too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially because there is that sense of community with like my wife's family, like the Dawn family that lives in the Britt area. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And
yes.
And so you feel that.
Yeah, I definitely feel.
And like you and I getting to hang out and like go to dirt track races and just like that type of thing. You feel that community. It's like almost like a little piece of Wisconsin in
100%
this small town.
100%. Yeah.
When you all of a sudden kind of tapped into that, you could see how it just made you feel like, okay, this feels like home now.
Yeah, exactly. And like even like little things, like we've been on the road a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I'm on the road. I've had packages come, and when we got back, all my packages were stacked up like really, really nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that seems, I mean, thank God for the FedEx driver. Like, sweet, he actually cared about it. Well, I was outside one time and my neighbor came over. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know, you had packages just thrown across your front patio and stuff like that. He's like, so I just made sure I just went and tucked them back in there. He's like, I hope you don't mind. I'm like, no, dude, that's totally fine. But like, that's the type of stuff that I am drawn to. It's like, you just feel safe. You feel good. It's a sense of community. And he literally said that. He's like, yeah, everybody's got each other's backs here in Britt. So I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. So that in a nutshell is why I really enjoy going to the Wisconsin show.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that. I mean, it's like when I used to be a videographer and I traveled, I always just loved to feel the differences in the culture, like how people do things. And sometimes it was bad. Sometimes you were disappointed. You're like, oh, that sucks. Like, that's not how I want to feel or I want to be talked to. Or and other times you're like, wow, this is really awesome. Like, I understand why people live here. I understand the sense of the identity that they have or whatever it might be. And you really feel that in Wisconsin. And so, I really think it's fun to get to be a part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. You know what? Listen, now that we've talked for half an hour about Wisconsin, maybe we should talk about what we were going to talk about today.
Exactly. That turned into a wicked riff.
Hey, that may be chalked up to the most random, naturally flowing riff sesh
we've ever had.
And I like the little echo we did right there too.
Yeah,
I thought that was good.
That was nice.
That was really good.
We're really we're hitting on all cylinders.
We're syncing.
Yeah,
it's like we're taking the words right out of my mouth. See, see that just like that.
Yeah, we're just on one today.
Oh man. Okay, let's get to it. What are we talking about besides Wisconsin and how awesome it is?
Yeah, so we kind of alluded to this. I think it would have been 2 podcasts ago now. While we were in Iowa, the first night we were there, we missed the Iowa DNR public meetings that they hold every single year.
We missed the one that was in the Ventura office for us in North Central Iowa. They had them, I think, spread out over a few days all around the state.
Yeah, I honestly think it was just Thursday and Friday they had them split out. I believe. I could be wrong. Okay. But yeah, it ended up falling on the first Thursday that we were in Iowa getting ready for the Iowa Deer Classic. So unfortunately, we missed it. Normally, we love going to it. It's a really cool thing to be a part of.
So it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So a couple podcasts ago, we said they always post the YouTube video of what they talked about at the meeting. And we like talking about this stuff. It interests us. So we watched the YouTube video and took some notes, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Yep, absolutely. And I actually, I had some ideas and things that, we've talked about this before, but I'll just mention it again. When they do these meetings, they have this video that they play, and they have different departments. They have someone that talks about small game turkeys. Somebody talks about waterfowl. Somebody that talks about pheasants.
Predators.
They have somebody that talks about the fur bear predator side.
Yep.
There's somebody that talks about deer hunting. And at the beginning, the director of the DNR,
I believe it's the director,
he gives kind of an opening statement and kind of a high level what he wants to make sure that gets communicated. Between every section of the different animals and the reviews, they pause it for questions and they open it up when you're actually at one of the events to have people raise their hand.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually wanted to mention this about predator hunting. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty cool to be there. And sometimes the meetings could go by really fast. Somebody had questions. Maybe it can go really long. They're there as long as they want, as everybody wants to talk.
Yeah. Well, and that was the one thing that kind of bummed me out about not being there is because like what I noticed this year with just watching it on YouTube, I felt myself kind of burning through the first portions of it that wasn't related to the deer because obviously that's what I'm most interested in. But the fun part about actually being there is like even if you're not, say, a big trapper or something like that, you have guys there that are going to ask questions obviously directly related to the trapping, and it's kind of cool because it kind of makes everything else make sense. And I really felt that void yesterday and the day before, kind of looking over all this stuff.
Exactly. You almost wish that what I think could be really cool for the DNR to do is they do this video, but I think the cool thing they could do after the fact is they could just put up a camera
Yeah.
at the front of the room, and I know it'd be hard with audio, but figure out a way, even if you just had a really good shotgun mic or you passed a mic around when people want to ask questions, and they just video the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would just, and the part where they play it, they would maybe just cut that out.
Yeah.
And then say, this was the response to the fur bearer section.
Yeah.
This was the response to the waterfowl section.
Yeah.
And then you could be able to watch the meetings and listen to what people say in different parts of the state.
Yeah.
I would watch the Ventura office one for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
If they posted that.
Yeah, and that would be the tricky part is, I mean, 99 counties, so that's 99 videos that you have to upload.
But they don't do it that way. They don't do 99 of them. They only
I
do.
thought they do it in every county.
No, that's like it's regions.
You're right.
Yeah, so like if you look at your maps,
you're right.
it might even show here on one of these maps like there's different regions.
Yep,
I don't think
right.
these are the regions, but one of them shows the regions, and then this is the region, and then they talk about they do it for that.
My apologies.
So I think there's like maybe like a dozen or 15 meetings. There's still a bunch of meetings.
Yeah, there's a lot,
but not 99 counties.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's my fault.
No, you're good.
But I think one of the ways that they could do it is if they could live stream them.
Oh yeah, that would be cool too. Just live stream it, and then just post the live stream.
Yeah, that'd be the easiest way to do it, probably.
Yeah. You know, all the meetings I've been at, they've been pretty cordial. Sometimes like guys get a little heated.
Yeah, that first one I went to was kind of heated.
Yeah, maybe that's why they wouldn't live stream it.
Yeah,
because and that's where, what I was going to say earlier is I actually went to the Ventura office before we left for the Iowa Deer Classic.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the meeting, they have an opportunity where you can do they have write-ins, and they make notes of what people are talking about, and then they kind of submit it.
Yeah.
And I had something that I wanted to have written in.
Yep.
We've talked about on the podcast before this thing that I'm calling it the Iowa Antlerless Deer Tag Exchange Program for residents only. Yeah. And I won't go into a whole bunch of it, but I wrote that out, and I thought, you know what? Hey guys, something to think about. Maybe pass this along. Maybe this has legs. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah. Here's how I think it could create value for the state. This is how I think it could create value for the hunter. This is how I think it could. This is how I think it could be structured. And I submitted it, and they were like, "Cool, yeah, absolutely, we'll pass it along." And so, and when I was there, I kind of asked "Hey, what else are you guys going to be talking about?" And so that's kind of what we're going to go through. Yeah. But that's the nice thing about the meeting is if you have something that you wanna have talked about, mention it. Like the other thing I said to them when I stopped by was red lights for predator hunting. Allow red lights for predator hunting, right? We can use thermal, we can use night vision, but allow red lights. And if it's a thing of we think people would use red lights to poach deer, then don't allow red lights during the deer seasons. Just allow red lights only from January 10th, or even after the January Antlerless, or January 10th seems like fine, 10th until the next September, when it's predator hunting season. It would be a way that could get guys into predator hunting, men and women into it, that maybe wouldn't do it because they can't afford to buy, or they don't want to buy thousands of dollars thermal, scanner or a night vision scope. So anyway, I've said that the last couple of years. Yeah. Anyway, so the meetings are really cool. And the other thing I said, like I was going to say a minute ago, is sometimes they can get heated. Sometimes guys, they go there because they want to make sure that they're not happy. Yeah. Hey man, I'm not happy about how this worked out. I'm not happy about that you guys went to that piece of public that I've hunted for the last 25 years and you brush hogged it all out. Yeah. And now all the time that I've spent over the last 10 years hunting there is completely nullified because all this awesome habitat is gone. Why'd you do that? And then they'll say, well, listen, we respect and understand where you're coming from. We hear what you're saying. This is why we did it. Yeah. Or whatever. So there's lots of that type of stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so let's get into it. How do you want to do it? You want to kind of go through how the different categories? You want to just jump all around?
I think we probably do it category by category. I think we do that.
Okay, you start.
Well, the thing is I only printed stuff for the deer stuff.
All right, then I'll start.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to start with the deer stuff, I can.
No, okay. We can just jump all over. I don't know why I said that. We just do whatever we want to do.
Okay.
Okay. So, what I would say, what I took away from the first section, which was the small game and turkey, was Iowa had a second highest recorded harvest last year, which came off of the year before being the highest harvest year. Yep. So that's interesting. what I heard when I went and talked and asked when I just in discussions and we were at the Iowa Deer Classic, kind of hearing and talking to people too, is they're really looking at sounds like the state's looking at how the small game seasons are being like scheduled. Maybe I heard winds of, okay, maybe they take away small game hunting during the peak of the rut in November, so there's not guys out there trying to squirrel hunt or rabbit hunt when a guy's sitting in a tree stand. You know what I mean, and shooting a rifle up into a tree while a guy's sitting there trying to bow hunt. There's obviously some risks and things that they maybe there's like a 10-day window where you can't small game hunt. There've been talk of in previous years about maybe making it so that small game seasons, a non-resident has to pick. They have to pick like a 10-day window, or there's maybe 2 10-day window options. They talked about, gray fox and red fox. Is that what they are?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and gray fox numbers are really falling. They talked about how the state of Iowa a lot of our timber is getting older, and then that directly affects squirrels. You know what I mean? But there is still a real great opportunity to go squirrel hunting and get some squirrels. They talk about how many squirrels the guys get when they go out squirrel hunting, and there's not near as many people. Like when you look at how long they've been recording squirrel hunting, like the squirrel hunting harvest numbers are exponentially down. So if you want to go kill some squirrels, so like I said, from a turkey hunting perspective, it looks like everything's really on the up and up, and it's interesting because like I said, there's a lot of guys out there turkey hunting, but they don't let a ton of non-residents, and so it seems like with turkey hunting, it's like if it's not broke, why fix it? Right. And the kind of the strategy of what they're doing. And
you could see that too, just in the overall presentation. I mean, there was one side about or 2 sides about turkeys, and that was really it, and to me, that's a great sign.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So interesting. So that was what I kind of took away from the turkey hunting side. The thing that I thought was interesting about the fur bear, the fur bear biologist is actually, I think he's from Ventura. There was a slide that talked about bobcats and how the bobcat numbers continue to increase. It was interesting. They showed the range of a male compared to a female. And just how much bigger a male's range is than a female. I thought a male's range was like 20 some miles. And a female's was like 10 square miles. Obviously bobcat habitat is really dictated by hardwoods, timber. And it's not like they're going to be way out in the middle of a prairie. They need cover. They need trees, and that's from what I understand, that's what they need. And like where we've seen them along the rivers, near what we would consider big timber, And so, and then it talked about that, a female bobcat have maybe, potentially right around like 3 kittens, which I thought was interesting. And then they talked about coyotes, and they talked about, I want to say gray fox, and how they're trying to, what do you call it, like transplant or let out a few gray fox that are collared. And they actually had a trail cam set up on one gray fox, and they watched her raise like a litter, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And then they actually trapped one of the pups, and I think from what I understand, tagged that one too. And so that's kind of neat. And seeing how, if they can get gray fox and kind of reestablish them back in, which I think is pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty neat. They talked about there's a kind of a big discrepancy right now between the harvest report numbers on coyotes and then the reports that they're getting from trappers. It was a huge discrepancy, like way big, between this is how many coyotes it says guys are getting, and this is what trappers are saying they're getting in. So there's a big gap in what's being reported. And with all these things what the DNR is trying to do, it's interesting because when you go to these meetings, you realize how much they rely on the hunter, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Not only they rely on outdoorsmen, men and women, whether they're hunting or just out there hiking, whatever it is. It's such a huge part in getting good information for their surveys so that they can try to create accuracy. But then the hunter also being a tool of the conservation, right, to help manage populations and different things like that. So I thought that was really interesting. And then, again, I didn't take a ton away from the waterfowl part. Again, I'm not interested in that. it was interesting. There are segments of the waterfowl population that are down. It talked about in a couple of the sections about how we had a mild winter, and then we had a pretty easy, or we had a, let me go at that again. It talked about that when it looked at like the numbers of waterfowl that are flying through, whether that's mallards or geese or different things. And some of that was down, you know what I mean? And some of that was because a lot of this water was kind of dried up in certain places, you know what I mean? Where there just it wasn't there like it had been in years past or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so, again, I didn't really, I listened to the waterfowl thing. It just, that doesn't really relate to me or what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I thought was the big one when we talk about non-deer hunting part was the pheasant stuff. And I don't want to like over exaggerate this or like make a mountain out of a molehill, but what I think, and you can see it kind of in like what he taught with the guy that presented on the pheasant side of things. Pheasants sound like they're doing great, because it's, we had, especially last year, we had a incredibly mild winter, and then we had, and then the way the spring and the summer laid out,
pretty wet spring,
they
early
nested,
summer.
and then they nested great. You know what I mean? So it all worked out just fine. And the road surveys and like these road counts, some of them are way up, and that's a direct reflection of previous years, and the number of hens that are nesting and everything else. Pheasant populations are in a really good place.
Yeah.
So that's great. The hard thing about pheasant populations is it can be so dictated by weather.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we have a couple tough winters, wet springs, it just doesn't shake out for them. And then all of a sudden the numbers start to really fall.
Yeah.
But we're, so that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But the other part about that I thought was really interesting, and I did some digging just to make sure that I understood what he was explaining, is, and he talked about this last year, is CRP and how the Farm Bill is affecting that, and the fact that CRP acres are falling.
Right.
They have been falling. They continue to fall. And we're going to start to see a pinch here where the habitat, this established habitat that's out there for pheasants, is going to continue to disappear.
Right.
And at a certain point, it's going to really come to a head. You know what I mean? And it's starting to kind of come to a head now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we may listen to this guy talk about pheasants 5 years from now, and we're going to see graphs that are going like this.
Right.
Way down. Yeah. Way, way, way down. So to give a little context on that so then my question is, because you'll hear in the presentation, he talks about that obviously one thing the DNR is really hoping for is this, they talked about the revised rental rates and maintaining landowner interest in the CRP program. That is dictated by the Farm Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the Farm Bill? Because it's like, is it the Iowa Farm Bill? No, it's the federal Farm Bill. So just to give some context on that, the Farm Bill was last signed into law in December of 2018, okay? And the Agricultural Improvement Act of 2018. And following that has been several extensions, okay? And it's currently being extended until, which ironically is my birthday, September 30th of this year.
Okay.
Okay? But here's the reality. We're in 2026. 2018 was last time the Farm Bill was signed. So what that did is that, again, it locked in kind of these prices on what guys are, the amount of money that they're getting for CRP land. Meaning, so let's say that you're looking at 40 acres and there's a dredge ditch that runs through the back of it. The Iowa DNR would come and say, hey, you know what? We could put in a 75-yard buffer strip all along that big 1.5 miles that you got here along that along that dredge ditch.
Yeah.
That'll help eliminate erosion.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's a bunch of pheasants that live down in that dredge ditch, And that would be a good buffer, not only for you as a farmer, but also be great for those pheasants. Help create some habitat. And you know what? We'll pay you for it. And that rate back then was competitive to where the price of the commodity of corn or beans was at. Okay? But now it's the other way around. Now the Farm Bill and the CRP price, it's not competitive.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden what we're seeing is that all these acres are coming out of production, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Do you follow me?
Yep.
And he talked about that. He even said, he said right to it, let's address the elephant in the room, you know? And he talked about that the CRP program in Iowa is the predominant grassland habitat, right? CRP is a predominant grassland habitat. And the DNR manages this public grassland 430 square miles. So if you were to have a 10-mile swath all the way across the state, that's how much land is in this grasslands. But we lost 109 square miles last year. And when you start looking on the internet, this is where it gets a little tricky. There's different things that I saw that before the end of 2026, we could potentially lose, 600,000 acres. Over 40% of Iowa's CRP is expiring in 2026. Okay. So there's a lot going on right now in that world. And I'm sure if you were to get online and look at Pheasants Forever, they are way on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
Just like this guy, the Iowa DNR and all these states, they're way on top of it.
Yeah.
But there is a lot coming to a head right now in what are we doing? Are we going to make more competitive prices for these landowners that incentivize them to keep the land in the program?
Yeah.
Or are they and from a farmer's perspective, they're in the market of making a living, and they make a living by farming the ground. And if they have CRP ground and they're getting this much for it, right? At the end of the day, this is the revenue that they're bringing in. And if they farm that same ground, plow it up and farm it under, they get this much revenue. What do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
And so there's got to be some compromise.
Yeah.
And so, and again, I'm sorry if my numbers are way far off. That's what Google and the searches that I saw was telling me. But like you said, the lack of competitive rental rates compared to high commodity prices forces landowners to convert habitat back to crops, directly reducing crucial nesting cover for pheasants and or just habitat.
Yeah.
And so, we're in a real, again, I think the average deer hunter is like, oh, okay, whatever. But man, I'll tell you what, there's a bunch of pheasant habitat, a bunch of CRP that I grew up deer hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
There's CRP pieces that when you moved here that I was hunting that are way overlooked.
Oh, yeah.
That are just what people would say are just pheasant hunting spots that are unbelievable deer hunting spots as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, and again, not even thinking about deer, just thinking about the pheasants. Man, it'd be crazy. Like, let's say in this hypothetical world, they, like said, the bill is set to expire. Let's say it doesn't get passed right away. And then we just continue with the current regulations that we have.
Yeah.
And all these farmers in the spring of 2027 might have to make some tough decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
Make some really tough decisions.
Yeah.
And there's going to be DNR guys, men and women, calling them and say, hey, we'd love to get you renewed. And they're going to say, man, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Listen, and probably farmers that are avid pheasant hunters. And I get it. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, because at the end of the day, I've got a wife and kids, and I've got a family, and I've got bills, and I've got debt, and I've got all this and that, and I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
And so, be really, really interesting to see how this turns out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then even when you look at like the political landscape, and I'm not trying to get way into it on wherever you fall, right to left, front, center, up or down, but you start to Google that, it's really interesting what you'll see. And what is the federal government? Where do they sit on this? Where do Democrats, Republicans, moderates, whatever they are, independents, libertarians, whatever they are, where do they fall on how important is this conservation? Or is it going to shift more to like, hey, those are acres and that's land that can create money and can help us be less dependent on other people for this or that or this or that, farm it.
Yeah.
And so, it's just really, really interesting. I think it's something that the DNR and every state and federal agency is constantly pushing and pulling against.
Yeah.
We're trying to conserve the landscape and preserve it for now and for the next generation, for these animals that, that deserve to be there too. But then there's also there's an interest, there's a special interest, private and public. Yeah. And so it's just like, man. And I feel like the pheasants and CRP, it's just like this collision there's going to be a crossroads, and it's either going to go left or right.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that from a political perspective. I mean, it's just going to have to go one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to
be interesting.
It's going to be super, super interesting to see what happens because, especially in the fact that I feel like a lot of times the CRP is put in place because there's land that isn't necessarily farmable. I mean, think of
less productive.
Yeah, so think of some of the spots that we hunt that have CRP, some of the permission pieces. The reason it's not farmed is because it's super wet, it's rough ground, and so it's like
it's a high spot, it's a low spot.
It puts the farmer in a real pickle because if he can't make money on that little chunk, then is he just not going to farm it and still just leave it in CRP and just take the loss, or it's weird. It's a weird thing.
No, yeah, dude, it's really tricky, and that's
because I know like where I grew up in Wisconsin, we have CRP on our family farm, and if anybody knows who's listening, who knows my Uncle Johnny, he's going to farm every single inch that he can,
up to the fence, baby.
But there's spots that he just simply can't, and so what is it now? It's CRP. So
well, it's just like, I mean, and again, I'm not a farmer, but I've been around farming enough to know. I mean, we've all heard it, right? Hey, disc it one more blade over.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, cut a little closer against that fence.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden you do that on each side of the field, on all four sides, and you just got another row.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you put that another row all the way around, and how much is that up to be?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and I think you hit the nail on the head. The idea behind it is that when there are less productive areas, I mean, look at North Central Iowa. We were at one time tall, grassland prairie, pothole country, marshes, like that's what it was. And you can look out on the landscape now and you can drive down any road. And when we get a big spring rain, you can see all the potholes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a place right down from where I live. It's just funny. Tatum and I actually went on a date the other day, and we drove away from the farm. We're going down the road, and there's this T intersection. And I said, "Hey, see that right there?" I'm like, "That's what it used to look like." And she's like, "What?" I go, see all that tall grass? And I said, "See that wet spot and see those ducks out there? And those cattails?" And
mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's what that would look like.
Yeah, for sure.
If we just didn't farm it all up and tile it all off and push all the water away, and like that's what it looked like. And you could see the birds and the ducks and like all this life.
Yeah.
And I'm not sitting here saying that like farming's bad, because
no, not at all.
We are where we are.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And again, this is where I think the Iowa DNR and a lot of these federal departments, they have such a tough job.
Yeah.
Because they have to figure out, how do we maintain something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do we maintain something? And I mean, last time I checked, they're not making a bunch more national parks.
Yeah.
Like we have what we have in that regard,
mm-hmm.
And so, and this isn't Alaska.
Yeah.
That's just like this untamed wilderness for hundreds and hundreds of miles, or all of Canada. That's thousands of miles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the way that it is.
Yeah.
And so, what are we going to do? And so like this CRP program is a way that's like, hey, let's try to scratch out some habitat within these spots that these guys, men and women, these farmers aren't just really having much production at anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's a cool idea. It's a good thing, but it could be coming to a screeching halt.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about that, I feel like.
Could be coming to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
That was the other thing I was going to mention, and they didn't talk about this in the meeting, and maybe they talked about this after. But I heard something about making it so that the first so many days of pheasant season are only resident.
Okay.
Just having it just be a resident only.
Yeah.
Which I thought would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
That was always the thing when I was a kid. You would always drive to Casey's mid-morning, and there'd be just a whole pile of non-resident license plates,
Yeah.
license plates waiting to see where you were going.
Well,
Or,
you even see that now. I mean, you see a lot of Minnesota plates.
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, not at
So,
all.
but yeah, so anyway, the CRP and where we're at, and what's coming down the pipeline in the end of this year, and when the Farm Bill expires, and when does another will get signed? Is it before the end of 2026? Is it not till next spring?
Right.
All of a sudden, if we get into next March, April, May, it'll be really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
We talked about small game turkeys. We talked about predators. We talked about waterfowl, just a scotia. We talked about pheasants. Now, let's get to the big kahuna, okay? Let's get to the big Jolly Rancher. Let's get to the big whatever this is.
All right. I don't know if I have these in order correctly. I know that this was definitely the first one, but I'll just go through them all. What I did was I went through and all the graphs that they put on, I printed those out, and we can talk about those. Right out the gate, statewide harvest was 101,941 harvests in Iowa. That is up 1% from last year, but down 3% from the 5-year average. And when you look at this graph, I'll put it up there. From 2005 to where we're at now, you do see a dip, but it's pretty steady. I mean, when you really look at it, basically from 2010 to 2025, it's pretty steady as a whole.
Well, and what that shows you, and again, I'm not a biologist, but just from my perspective, in the early 2000s, we had an unsustainable population of deer in the state of Iowa.
Exactly.
It was like, that was the absolute heyday.
Yeah.
And we brought that back down to a more manageable level in the mid 2000s, 2010. And now we've kind of done this steady.
Yep.
And the thing that's interesting about that is when you look at the harvest numbers, we're still in the aftermath and we're still in the wave of this EHD, CWD, recovery, I guess you could say. We heard a lot about that at the Iowa Deer Classic this year.
Well, and I think too, I think that 1% from last year kind of shows that like it is starting to trend up very slowly, but I think that has to go with having a really good year last year, EHD wise, from the weather, basically.
Yeah, and I feel like from what we heard, the rut laid out pretty awesome for everybody.
Yeah.
And the way the cold came and the way the cold hit and everything just kind of panned out. It was a good year.
Yeah, good year as a whole. So that's a little bit on the harvest numbers. I'm going to save that one for last. I thought that was the most interesting. Save that one. Okay, here we go. Let's talk a little bit about EHD. We were just talking about that. So I thought this one was really interesting and a really good thing. Obviously, there was little to no disease activity reported this year. There was less than 50 mortalities reported statewide
in 2025,
which is insane.
And what we learned from Jace kind of the year before, and I'll never forget that when he was here in the summer, and he said, "Talk to me after Labor Day."
Yeah, exactly.
Talk to me after Labor Day.
Yeah, and it was funny too because I was thinking about that a lot. Kind of through that time, and everything was staying nice and smooth. Haven't really been seeing much online on the groups on Facebook and stuff. Got to Labor Day, I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen here, and then it just stayed smooth all year long. So that was really, really good.
Yep.
So it's good to bounce back from that for sure.
So I would say my whole thing with CWD and EHD, just like with what they talked about and looking at the graphs, and this I think will lead right into what you're going to say next is Western Iowa, Southern Iowa, Western, Southwest, and South Central, they got absolutely hammered.
Yeah, pounded. Yeah.
And so now you can start to see, and there's some adjustments, some consequences that are happening because of that.
Yeah.
Again, we had a good EHD, CWD year last year.
Yeah, mild winter, wet spring, wet early summer. It dried off pretty good late summer, but
it wasn't like it was dry so that deer didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
So it worked out. But now there are some things that are changing because of, again, and I don't know if you were going to mention this, but Jace talked about that they did a really cool thing in Western and Southwest Iowa with these meetings, public meetings to be talked about.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to hear from you. what are you guys experiencing? You guys are out there. Come to these meetings. We'd love to chat with you. And it sounds like they were very well attended.
Yeah.
With guys giving their feedback, their perspective. Man, this is what I'm seeing. Man, we usually kill 10 deer off our farm. We only killed one.
Right.
We usually see hundreds of deer. We saw 10.
Yeah.
Whatever. And so they use that, plus obviously the consequence of what this happened to lead to what next.
Yep. So the big thing that Cole is talking about right now is, quota changes. I think the reason you're not seeing a change in the western side is because they were already changed so much. So from year to year, it doesn't change. But you can see that in the southern region of Iowa,
southern Iowa, bottom 4 tiers.
Yep. So you're going to see a decrease in quota changes, and obviously, like Cole said, the
antlerless quotas.
And like Cole is saying, the southern portion of the state just got hammered with EHG. So I think that's why you're seeing this for sure. Just to try and rebound even more than we already have. So
the crazy thing about all that too, that when I looked at that were really just goes to show you like how this can be so like specific or fragmented in certain areas.
Yeah.
Look at southeast corner.
Yeah.
You've got 3 counties right on the Mississippi that are actually, there's increases in antlerless quotas.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 counties and the next 3 after that, and the next 2 and the next 2 and the next 3, all of those, when you go from there towards South Central, saw a decrease.
And we're talking about increases in Muscatine, Louisa, and Des Moines County.
Yep.
And then pretty much straight west of that, there's a long stretch of decreasing.
Yeah, you look at Washington and Henry right beside those.
Yep.
They're showing a decrease in tags, in antler tags, and then it's kind of sprinkled up through like northeast Iowa and a little couple in central Iowa that are going to have a little bit of an increase in some way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, they really cut things back in 2000. They cut things back. They talked about how they were cutting back at the last year's meeting for 25. So now the cutback for 26. Obviously, for some of these western counties, they already cut them back.
Yeah, exactly.
But the big change for western Iowa is...
I'll get into that.
It's this right here.
I wanted to talk about this first.
Oh.
So, to get into what Cole was alluding to, I thought that this graph here, or picture, whatever you want to call it, was by far the most interesting thing in this entire presentation. So this is a map showing the percent change in 5-year average buck harvest. And when you look at the western side of the state, some of the numbers are pretty surprising. Like, listen to some of these. Down 34%, down 26%, down 42%, down 23%, down 47%, down 34%, all on the western side. Yeah. That is some unreal numbers.
There's no deer there.
It's insane to think about that.
Not that there's no deer, there's very few deer there.
Yep, exactly. So then you look at the deer population trends from 2021 through 2026, and you can see, and this kind of scared me a little bit just because you can see what came to my mind is like, man, look at how this is like creeping across the state kind of. And it's just kind of, it's eerie to see that because you just hope that this starts creeping back the other way. And I think that what the DNR has in plan or has planned is really going to help with that.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is like, and when you look at this one, you probably could put this up. You look at what they would call the southwest part of Iowa. Yep. There's been a huge decrease in buck harvest.
Yep.
South central Iowa, same thing. You know what I mean?
This is just population as a whole.
Oh, this is population. I thought this was okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, the population in southwest Iowa was way down. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Way, way, way down.
Yep.
And so because of that, now they are creating this, what they're calling Zone B.
Zone B.
Yep. Which is kind of a whole new thing.
Yep.
Not kind of a whole new thing. It's a whole new thing.
Yep. So basically, in Zone B, it will be buck only.
Yep.
Buck only, except for youth and disabled tags, landowner tenant tags, depredation tags, and then county any sex quotas limit 1 per hunter. So
1 per hunter.
Yep. So that's crazy. Man. But I'll tell you what, I totally believe in the DNR, and I think they have a super good plan in place for us.
And I don't say man like I disagree. I say man like I feel for the guy.
Oh, for sure.
Because I know for me, my tags are like,
no doubt.
I've got like a book. I I buy way too many.
Yeah.
Like every year, Tatum's like, really?
Yeah.
Like, how much are we spending on deer tags?
Yeah.
Like,
No, for sure.
really? It's just nice to have them.
Yeah. Yep,
You know?
no doubt.
You know?
So I think that's going to be, I'm super curious to see how that plays out and to see what all this stuff looks like next year after 1 year of it. I mean, maybe it'll take a couple years to do it, but I think
It sounded like it was overwhelmingly, like in the meetings as we talked about, it was like they talked about, and Jay's talked about that it was well received, and it was something that
it was a crazy number. I should have printed it out, but it was something like 95% were in favor of it or something.
Yeah.
Well, crazy.
And it's interesting because it's crazy to see how this is all coming together.
Mm-hmm.
We've had Jason on and we've talked to him, and what does he say? One thing that hunters will do is they will always self-regulate.
Yeah.
And you've told me of different things that you've listened to where guys are being like, yeah, man, I would recommend not shooting does right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like maybe there are places, there's spots, there's depredation programs, there's spots where there's a lot of deer.
Yeah.
But for the most part, man, I wouldn't shoot does right now.
Right.
Give them a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Like, let's just keep the deer. Let's keep some deer in the woods. Let's self-regulate. And there's a lot of people that do that.
Tons.
And then you see how these numbers are getting adjusted accordingly.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, before they were adjusted, people were self-regulating.
Yeah, no
you
doubt.
know?
No
And
doubt.
so, yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
This Zone B thing, again, you know, it's been either sex for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
It hasn't been like that forever, but it's been like that for a long time. And now for this to go back to this buck-only area, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. So that's going to be fun to see how that plays out next fall.
Yeah. And hopefully it leads to improvement. It leads to that we can kind of crawl our way back to a more sustainable population, a more huntable population where men and women can get out there and they can have good hunts and they can, you know, they're not going to have good hunts anyway, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's just deer to hunt. When they're doing a deer population density and they drive 50 miles and they say four deer, that ain't very good.
No. Nope, it's not at all.
You know?
But yeah. Next thing they talked about was chronic wasting disease, CWD. They had it in 10 more counties than they did the previous year. So that's that for that, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've talked about this at length, but, you know, I don't know every in and out of EHD and CWD, and I can't tell you from a biological perspective, from a neurological perspective, from whatever perspective on what it does to a deer and how it works.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I understand. EHD is the thing that will kill them quick, and CWD will kill them one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to kill them quick, but if they get it, they're going to die. You know, like you heard Jay say, yeah, the CH, and you've seen what the Iowa DNR has done. They've come out now and they've said, this isn't something that we're curing. This is how we manage it.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we work our way through. All these other states, nobody's curing it. They're not curing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reality. This is the new world that we live in. This is our new normal.
Yeah.
And he's talked to us about that. He's like, yeah, you know, CHD, it really, really sucks. He's like, CWD, that kind of keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
Because that is the silent killer. Like, you know, it's almost like you get a paper cut and you're like, oh, paper cut. Oh. And then that paper cut kills you.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't kill you tomorrow. Doesn't kill you next week. Doesn't make you act like a zombie and all of a sudden makes you like lay in water and then die.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, like a year from now, or a year and a half from now, 2 years from now, all of a sudden you just die.
Yeah, no,
because you got a paper cut.
It's very interesting.
I mean, it's not because of a paper cut, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting that I wish that there was numbers behind this is fatalities from CWD.
Yeah.
You don't see that. You just see that it was detected in there, and what that means is somebody brought in a deer that was dead, they tested it, and it had it.
Yep.
So it's like,
I'm right on that, right? Isn't that what we've been told? Is that when they get CWD eventually kills them, like from?
Yeah, eventually, but it's like the thing that I see a big difference is like EHD. We had, I mean, you've talked about EHD where you drove by a river and you could smell it.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you don't hear that with CWD. So it's just, I get that it's an issue, but it's just like, I don't even know how to explain this, but it's just weird to me. Like there's no CWD cases that cause a fatality. Every single time they test a CWD positive deer, it's already dead from a hunter killing it. So it's like, how do we understand the true severity of it? Whereas with EHG, we could clearly see a difference in population changes and finding dead deer everywhere. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely something to not just push to the wayside, but I just feel like there's a lot of unanswered questions with it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a really, really kind of confusing thing because, like I said, we're going off of like when we talked to Jace about it. You know what I mean? And like we both remember him specifically talking about that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't get it. You know,
It's
like
I
don't
very
get it.
Weird thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, you know, this is so here. Like, I'm going to sprinkle this into the conversation, and this is so crazy. Again, I'm making a stretch of a correlation here, so try to bear with me. I remember I was in Colorado, and we had these hunters one time, and they got talking about Bigfoot. Does Bigfoot exist? Is Bigfoot real? I'm like, I don't know. If you held a gun in my head, yes or no, I'd say no. And everybody starts talking about it, and they start chatting about it. And guys were just kind of like, you know, they were kind of fueling the fire and playing devil's advocate and doing all this stuff. And one of the people says like, well, here's an argument. How have we not found a Bigfoot skeleton? How have we not found a dead Bigfoot? Yeah. Like they die eventually, right? Like how do we not find a dead Bigfoot? And then the rebuttal to that, what I heard is, and this guy said this, he goes, yeah, you know what? I've heard that before. He goes, I'm an avid predator hunter. He goes, where I live, whether it's coyotes or fox or bobcats, and he goes, and I'd love to, if I have an opportunity to go hunt a mountain lion, he goes, ask me how many skeletons I've ever found of any of those animals dead. Ever. I spent a lot of time out trapping, knowing where those predators want to live, you know, like trapping them in their habitat and where they go and understanding and da-da-da. He goes, never found one. And I haven't either. Yeah. You know? So do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, no, and so it's sure. like with this whole CWD thing, it's like, are deer dying from it? Yeah, probably. I mean, there's deer that die all the time. You know, like they find deadheads all the time. Guys. So it's just bizarre. Yeah. But to your point, it's like they figure out that they have CWD after they're already dead and they've been killed by a hunter. Yeah. But maybe we're off, or we're missing a step here, and they are finding for sure. CWD deer that have been killed. Yeah. They just die naturally, and maybe that's what this is. Yeah, exactly. We need to have Jace back on and talk about CWD again. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure, we definitely do. Yeah, and I mean, the one thing I would say to like my devil's advocate. My devil's rabbit advocate. My rabbit dabba dabba labba rabba. My labba dabba. My subi. My rubba dabba. Yeah. Whatever you're trying to say. Yeah. So my devil's thing to your devil's thing would be devil's advocate thing. Devil's advocate would be that, you know. Oh, wait a second. Are you double devil advocating right now? Yes, I am. You're double devil advocating. I'm double advocating your devil advocate. So if you're doubling the devil advocation, if I come back, then we're on a triple, yeah. Triple devil advocate. Yeah. We're getting in new territory. Go ahead. My thing is I totally agree that you don't find dead coyotes or anything like that anywhere, but they live in dens. Could they just be dead in their dens? I don't know. Whereas a deer is... Mountain lions don't live in dens. True. Yep. Great point. Yeah, you wonder if where there's a lot of mountain lions if they find them. Well, think about black bears, brown bears, grizzly bears. There's lots of black bears in all sorts of places around the country. You don't hear people, oh yeah, I found a dead black bear skull or skeleton. You just naturally triple devil's advocated it. Listen. But do you know what I'm saying though? You know, here's the reality, okay? You and I are both arguing both sides. So we're both right and we're both wrong. Yeah, no, for sure. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. For sure. I think we just went into a quadruple devil's advocate of the devil's advocate. Yes. No, that was good. Good little riff. Here's what we're going to say. If you have stuck around through this much and haven't turned it off or just beat your head against the wall, you're a special person. Yeah. And I mean that in a really, really good, intelligent way. If you follow any of this, you're definitely smarter than us. Yes. And like I said, thanks. Yeah. Thanks.
So there is one more thing that we wanted to talk about today, but we're pretty deep into it. I think that we completely table it and save it for another episode.
Do we want to get into it a little bit?
Nope.
You don't even want to give a sprinkle. You want to get a little teaser.
Nope.
Man, I think you have to tease it. It was a part of the discussion. And you know what?
Was it, though, actually part of it?
Well, like I said.
Because there wasn't a slide on it.
There wasn't a slide. Let's be real, though. There was people that talked about the different species and the management and the surveys and the harvest reports. And then the director, he gave his opening comments covering specific high points.
Mm-hmm.
What did he talk about? What did the director talk about? What did he talk about? Go ahead, Nick.
I don't even know.
He talked about what you're not wanting to talk about.
Oh, he
right
did
now.
talk about it?
He mentioned it.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
He mentioned it.
Just rumor on the street from some credible sources. We won't say who.
What have we been hearing? What I've been hearing. Little,
Yeah.
What do they call that? Ear to the grindstone? What is that? Is that the right saying I'm saying? Right? You got your ear down on the railroad track, listening to the little tinka-tankle.
You just say it.
Huh? No, you say it.
No.
Hold on a second.
Oh, don't do this.
Go for it. Oh, it's not.
Oh, wrong one, I think.
Go ahead, Nick. Just go ahead and say it. Go ahead. Just say it. Go ahead.
No, there's rumors floating around from credible sources that this will be the last year with trail cameras on public land. The last one. There you go.
Go ahead, Nick. Just go ahead and say it.
We have heard rumors from multiple credible sources that this will be the last fall that you'll be able to run trail cameras on public land.
You know what? That gets a double whompy trombone.
Yep. So
That was a four whompy trombone.
So I mean it.
Rumor on the street. Sounds like it has to be passed through committee.
Yeah.
And all that rigmarole.
But sounds like
and it's not that in the video he didn't talk about any of this. He just said that there a lot of discussion about trail cameras and there were surveys done, and then what we kind of heard at the Iowa Deer Classic and other things that we've heard.
Surveys and everything is really way pro getting rid of trail cameras on public land. Yep, which it really sucks. It's
funny because we fall into the minority on this.
Yeah, we fall in the minority really, really hard, which is it's surprising to me, but whatever. But at the end of the day, man,
hey,
we can't control. We got to control what we can control.
Well,
and guess what? If they say you can't have it on trail cameras on public land, then guess what? We're not going to put trail cameras on public land. Does it suck? Yeah, but we'll live.
And here's the other part about it. There's a reason that we work for Ozonics and we don't work for the Iowa DNR.
Yeah, exactly. So
they're smarter than us, and they've got a plan.
Oh yeah,
and they've got an idea.
I trust them.
A direction. I trust them too.
I trust them. It'll be just
like
fine.
I said, I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I personally, I'll go on record and say I hate it.
Wow.
But it's whatever.
Hate's a big word. Hate's a word that gets used a lot. You gotta be careful when you start saying hate.
No, I know. It's fine though. I mean,
no. Listen, I'll go on record too. I hate it too.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had a lot of fun running trail cameras on public land, and it's just a fun piece of what we do day to day here during the fall, and it's kind of a bummer now that we're going to be, there's going to be definite guardrails to what we can do trail camera wise, and it's going to be to private land, and it's fine. We still have fun doing that. It just sucks.
I'm only going to say one thing. I'm only going to dabble. I'm going to sprinkle one little thing. Okay. I got into a conversation about this, and the conversation I was in, the person that I was talking to, they said, we were talking about this, and they said, yeah, and again, I'm paraphrasing. I don't have this in quotes, and I'm not quoting a source here either. So it's just, this is what was said, was basically, we just got to get back to the woodsmanship of this whole thing. And see, when we start talking like that, that's where I have the problem with it.
Yeah.
That's where like the disconnect is for me. Do you get me?
What if my woodsmanship is figuring out where to put a mock scrape, hang a camera, get some sweet stuff. What if that's how I view woodsmanship?
And that's
I guess what? It's not for me to decide what woodsmanship means anymore. That's where I'm ticked.
and that's where it's like I just have this like little scratch on my arm. And when it gets to be talking about woodsmanship, that's where like I feel like whenever that gets said, that little scratch, that scab, they just rip the scab right off and they stick their finger right in there and they get it bleeding again. And then I get angry.
Yeah, it just I hate that too because
Because
guess what? Part of the reason why I love going on public land, hanging the camera, and getting pictures of giant, huge bucks when it happens, it feels really good. It feels really good. I think, you know what? That was awesome. I went and scouted and set this up, put this here, did some scouting, put it all together, and it worked. You know what? That made me feel like maybe I have half a brain with some of this stuff sometimes,
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know. This is a huge pity party. I don't care.
No. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Again, obviously we make it very clear that we wish you could still use them on public land. I have also said, playing devil's advocate, that I love to use them and I hate to see them.
Yeah.
But, when we've listened at the meetings or when we've been there and that we hear people talk, like I was there last year and heard what guys had to say. And then like I've asked more questions, just trying to have like objective conversation and just understand the rationale. It's like, well, not only, it's not just deer hunters using the resource, and it's all these other people that are using it too. And, and like, it's funny I heard this even, I heard this in the discussion I'm just talking about, that they were out in the woods. They were trying to take a piss and they looked up and there was a trail camera. Does everybody just pee and poop in the woods all the time? Because gosh, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what everybody's worried about. Like, that's why it's like, is that a really big part of it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, but so it's like, but you hear people say, well, it's just, you see all these trail cameras and it's just like, and there's people out there that are maybe bird watching or just hiking. And then all of a sudden they feel like they're being watched or surveillanced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I can get behind that. I get that. And so I'm like, okay. And I relate to that because, we've talked about, there's pieces of public land that I hunted when I was at Iowa State that were on the Des Moines River 10, 15 years ago that you would go in there and they were these untouched, they felt like they were untouched spots. I ran into one other guy one time and he even said, oh yeah, man, this just never gets hunted.
Yeah.
Had buddies go back in there a year or two ago, and we went in there, and it was trail cam city, baby. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you went, around every corner. Oh, hey, look, there's a rub. There's a scrape. Trail camera. Oh, hey, look at that field edge. Trail camera. Oh, hey, let's go up on this one pinch point. Trail camera. Hey, look at that cedar thicket. Trail camera. I get it. So I get it. I hear you. I can accept that. But then when I hear it shift into this whole, well, it's, we just with woodsmanship. That's where you lose me.
You want to know what I would have done?
Do you know what I'm saying?
If we would have had like a full season to hunt that spot, and we came in there and we saw all those trail cameras, which I'll say this, it was a lot of trail cameras in the front half of that property. I would have used my woodsmanship and went to the very back corner and started from there. I guarantee you that there wouldn't be as many trail cameras back there.
Yeah.
I promise you. And plus, to whoever the guy said, he's like, oh, I would get worried about, taking a piss in the woods and getting on trail camera. It's like, hey, dude, guess what? Kiss my beep and use your woodsmanship and be aware of your surroundings. If you see a trail camera, walk to the back side of it and take your piss.
Or turn around.
Yeah.
Just turn around. Let him look at the back of your pants. Yeah, I don't know. Like you're dropping trout and you're like, oh, I've got a Papa squat right here.
Yeah, it's like
I don't know. Like,
whatever, man. Teach her own.
Yeah,
I don't care.
yeah.
I'm getting too fired up.
Well, it's just like, and again, on the woodsmanship piece, it is 2026. The sport of hunting, since Native Americans and then settlers coming across throughout, pushing across the West, like the sport of hunting when it was just to survive. You know, what did they do? They napped arrowheads and made them sharper and in all these different
exactly.
to more efficiently and effectively harvest animals. And this sport has been evolving for like hundreds of years, right? It's just been evolving and evolving and evolving and evolving, and it will continue to evolve. And maybe what day and age that we're stepping into is this day and age when state agencies have to say, okay, we found the limit. You know what I mean? But the reality is that if 100 years ago, somebody was told, hey, just so you know, guys have all this stuff, all this equipment, and it's still considered fair chase, they would roll over and fight you on that. You know? So do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
no,
so
for sure.
and like so now we're defining what woodsmanship is. We're drawing a line.
Yeah, well,
And I just think that's I think the thing that like I don't feel like is getting talked about that much.
well, and to me, it feels like a very weird place to draw the line.
That's exactly.
Like I would be,
I would argue that trail cameras save more deer lives than kill them.
dude. For sure. Like I would be
But-
more
but
on
then-
board
but
with
then-
saying, hey, you can't shoot a bow that's 70 pounds. It's got to be 60 pounds or less. Because guess what? You can shoot a deer and kill a deer at 40 pounds. So it's like, okay. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. You know what?
And the thing
Listen,
that makes me the most mad, this is my last thing I'm going to say about
no,
this.
okay. Can I say something before you say that?
Sure.
I'm gonna drop a little bomb on this whole conversation. I'm gonna add a little petro to the fire here. States are coming out and saying no trail cameras, but then we just talked about how many states are allowing crossbows.
Exactly. It makes no sense. Here's the
Oh, it's just and you know what? I've never claimed to be a smart guy. I mean, I get it. I'm as sharp as a marble. I get it. But I just can't wrap my mind around it.
No, it makes no sense. Here's the thing that actually, this is the thing that, I mean, I know I said all this stuff that makes me mad, but this is the thing that I think bothers me the most is the fact that, you know, you hear all the time, hunters need to come together. Hunters need to be together. We gotta do this all together. It's all equal, blah, 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 blah. You want to know what's going to divide us? When me can't own a chunk of land, and if I don't have private pieces, then I can't run trail cameras on public land. So then again, it's like the rich just get richer because the people who can afford buying these great chunks of land, they can run trail cameras, they can do everything they can create a plan. Whereas now with us, that takes up a huge part of what I've grew up learning to do. And then now it's just gone.
Well, and not only that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, dude.
Like I feel like it creates a pretty
well,
black and white divide.
Well, and on top of that too, like, okay, and again, I'm making another bridge here of the conversation. I'll never forget during COVID, I was in the Minneapolis airport. In the Minneapolis airport, there used to be a Chili's in Terminal 1, right in the middle. There's a Chili's kind of between where you would go to the different like long runways where all the gates were. And there was a Chili's, and I remember Susie. I didn't have any masks, so Susie she made masks. She made me one. It was blue, and I had a little wire thinger here, and I would wear it. And I remember the first time I was flying for Ozonics traveling, and I was in the Minneapolis airport, and I'm walking through the terminal with my mask on, and then I walk by Chili's, and nobody has mask on, and I'm like, what? Well, when you were eating, you can't eat with a mask on.
Yeah.
So, and nobody wanted to wear the masks. So Chili's was packed.
Yeah.
There wasn't a seat in there. Because guess why? None of those people want to have masks on either. And so it's funny because I'm sitting there going, I'm like, what is wrong with this whole thing? if I'm walking down the aisle, I got to have a mask on. But if I go stand 2 feet over and I'm on the inside of this little fenced area of Chili's, I can have a mask off. It's okay over here, but it's not okay over here. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And it's like, look at this. Okay, no trail cameras on public land, but you can literally be on the other side of the fence and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, what are we doing? I honestly would rather they just take them completely away altogether. Yeah. But guess what? They couldn't regulate that, right?
Yeah,
nobody to enforce it.
Yeah.
But still, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, hey, there's this awesome tract of timber, and there's a fence line that runs through the middle of it that's public and private. Mm-hmm. You can't have it on this side, but you can have it on that side. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. We're going to have a lot longer conversation about this on a pod.
And then, like, the only last thing I'm going to say is think about non-residents. Think about non-resident.
Selfishly, that's the only thing that's kind of nice about it, maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean, you think about, like, a guy that we're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. How many guys walk up? Oh, yeah, man, I got 5 points. I'm drawn.
Yeah.
Well, what if you could, a lot of guys, they'll come out, they'll put trail cameras up, they'll scout. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even that, I heard that, like in this conversation, that was another part that got brought up. Well, yeah, there was an example of a spot where a non-resident had all these, I don't even know if he was a non-resident, but a guy had all these trail cameras up. He wasn't even going to hunt the spot. He had all these cameras up. Mm-hmm. He wasn't even hunting there. He was just watching, just seeing. I get it. But man, it's like you're putting in for 5 to 6, 7 years. We've heard people say that Iowa non-resident's going to hit 10 years at some point. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden you're putting it for all these years, and now you, like, if you could do scouting, it's going to push people, I think, more towards outfitters.
For sure it will.
Yeah, because the outfitters they're hunting private land. They got lease and they'll have trail cameras out.
Yeah, no doubt it will.
You know, and so it's just like, I don't know. I don't get the woodsmanship part.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I get it. Here's the thing. I get it a little bit.
Yeah.
I get it a little bit. And see, that's the difference between you and me, right? Like, you kind of, like, in your hunting career, you've only known trail cameras.
Yeah.
Like, being 41 years old, I remember as a teenager in my 20s, no trail cameras, mm-hmm. like no cell cameras, no trail camera, just like going and saying and looking at a spot and going, okay, like it's and I have friends right now that hunt this way. They just, they put themselves in the right spot at the right time on the mm-hmm. right day.
Yep.
And they go, this is where the deer are going to be. And they harvest great deer. But like, I feel like the level of woodsmanship that they use and the level of woodsmanship that I use with trail cameras or without trail cameras, I don't think that's any different.
It's no different at all.
And so I just feel like I guess at the end of the day, I feel like they're saying it's for this, but they really feel it's for this, but mm-hmm. they can't get that by.
Yeah.
So this is how they get it by.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep. And like I said, dude, we were going to talk about this a lot at length on an upcoming episode. We are way long into this, and we should just table this. I think it'll be better to have its own pod.
Okay, all right. Hey, let's wrap it up. Hey, Ozonics Killerwinds podcast. Thanks for listening. This was the ultimate riff sesh, all over the map.
One on the front, one on the end.
Wisconsin. Talked about the Iowa DNR meetings. Got into way more than we thought we were going to get into about trail cameras.
Yeah, we were literally just going to say it and then end it.
It's just too much.
Yeah,
can't do it. Hey,
okay.
Another episodes of the books. Thanks for watching. Good luck out there. Be safe. Come to Wisconsin. Be at the show. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
See you next week.
Stay classy.